Joining us now from Minnesota is Bruce Hawker. Bruce, thanks so much for joining us. In the making of this documentary, what surprised you the most?
Well, I think the level of division in the United States is so powerful, Laura. It's incredible. And the reaction of people is so polarised. People either love Donald Trump or they abhor him. And that comes out in all the interviews we do. We haven't found anybody who sits on the fence.
And Bruce, in that context, with the midterms looming, you're in a swing state as we speak. It is now a swing state. What's your sense of how it's going to play out? And obviously, as we've discussed with so many of our commentators and US analysts, it's all about the turnout. Who can get more showing up to vote in what is the midterms where generally the turnout's low?
Well, yeah, that's exactly right. But when we were down in Arizona, for example, we were getting reports that turnout was very high. And we're hearing anecdotal reports in places like Georgia it is as well. So we expect on both sides there'll be a high turnout. Minnesota is a swing state. It's what they call a purple state, half blue, half red. And there are two Republican seats that the Democrats think that they can win. And there's one Democrat seat in the north in a place called Duluth, around where Bob Dylan actually came from, that could go to the Republicans because that's a big steel area. Who actually ends up controlling the House of Representatives is anybody's guess. The Democrats think that they're ahead in it, but, you know, as we saw in 2016, you've got to be very careful about making predictions.
Yes, in the US and here, I would say as well, Bruce. Now, when it comes to the immigration debate and the border with Mexico, we've seen Donald Trump really ramp it up in recent days, saying he's sending the military down to the border, as he's called the caravan of people that are making their way closer to the US. What's been the reaction to that?
Well, it's confirmed a lot of concerns that I guess Republican voters have had that they need a strong position on this issue on the border. Democrats say, well, what's going to happen when they get there? Are they going to be splitting up their children again like they did recently, which caused so much trauma to the families and also to a lot of Americans? The big concern, I guess, for the Democrats is that the people in the middle, the so-called independents, might be swayed more towards Trump and maintaining the status quo than moving over to the Democratic side. It is not unlike I feel it's not unlike in 2001, Laura, when we had the Tampa incident, and John Howard famously said, "We decide who comes into this country and on the conditions that they do." It has that feel to me. And from the Democratic side of the fence, I think I'd be a bit concerned.
OK. And what about this story that's dominated the headlines for us as well the last couple of days, the pipe bombs? Donald Trump has doubled down in terms of his criticism of the mainstream media overnight and says that they're the source of much of the anger.
Yeah, there's an amazing ability on the part of the people on the Republican side to blame the other side for the anger, when in fact the Democrats say, well, it's all being generated by Donald Trump and he's tweeting, something which, by the way, a lot of Republicans do not like when we interview them. We've done dozens and dozens of interviews on the trip so far. This has the potential to play, I think, towards the Democratic side because, they will say, oh, this is a crazy who is being whipped up by Donald Trump's rhetoric. So it's not surprising that he would run that line against the media. And it all goes, though, towards reinforcing the base. This is what it's all about in elections here, reinforcing support from the base and reminding them of the messages that you want them to hear.
Very interesting indeed. Look forward to watching it, Bruce Hawker. Safe travels. Thank you for that. And thank you for your time on AM Agenda today and all of this week. Kira and I will see you next week.